flowers that have no smell and just the shape. It's like since I got to Lucknow, like we've been talking about that, and so I've noticed that like in the back of my mind, there's like been almost like this like weighing of like those flowers, so to speak, and seeing like really what was worth and what wasn't. And I can think of like a few that I like know would be worth like that are worth something. Like is that correct or should I just And but it seems as though like in order to like live those like few flowers, like you were just saying that I need to like admire my own love and like it really has to start there. And, yeah. Because there's one that I asked you, I said, is this possible for me to live? And you said, this was a long time ago, and you said, it's possible like this. And, but I really want to live that. Like, I really want to.
So why not?
And I had something else I wanted to say, and I forget what it was. It feels a little bit out of, it feels like a little bit out of my hands, like, so like, I really want to perfect my love. And I forget, like, the other thing that I wanted to ask.
But you said that you really want to perfect your love. So maybe like, because if you stop interrupting,
Yeah,
it will be, the love itself is perfect.
yeah, yeah.
And when we interrupt, then when we,
I think it's like I don't know how to stop.
just get it out of the way.
Yeah. Like I look back at like the last like 4 years or 5 years or so, and like something about it like scares me, like the amount of tangle I got myself into. Like that I could, like that could happen to me, like, yeah.
Because molding is not possible in love. molding.
Molding.
Like if you want to make love of your shape,
Yeah.
it's not possible. It expresses
So
the
what,
way it is.
so was I molding myself?
No, trying to, like interruption is also kind of molding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I think as well, like I really also like a way I tend to like hang on to the messes I get myself into, right? And it's like that's actually just a part of the path that I walk. It's just, yeah. So
Start writing messages to yourself.
okay.
Yeah.
Does the name Hardwar mean something?
Hardwar, Har is like Shiva, door of Shiva. Dwar is door.
Okay. So is there a story in the name also?
Stories, many stories. Like it's in everything there are so many stories. So this is gate of Shiva. Because we think that Shiva lives in Himalaya. So that's why it's the gate of his home. But to me it feels like Shiva. If Shiva is, he cannot live only in mountains. It's not possible. be in Switzerland as well as in Oslo, in Germany also, Canada. So, of course, UK and Australia.
So he's not Brexiting. He's not Brexiting. No, it doesn't matter.
Brexiting.
Oh, Brexit. Sitting here and hearing all the amplified mantras and chants and the clanging and banging of the bells and so on, and pondering the benefits of ritual, or maybe it's a detriment, I'm not quite sure. And also thinking, I spent some time this fall in a Catholic monastery with very elaborate rituals. Or the days has a rhythm to it, just through these rituals. And also then thinking about my life, it's not devoid of ritual, it has lots of rituals. And looking all around, it's ritual, but undeclared ritual often. And I wonder if, in what way ritual is really helpful and sustaining, and in what way ritual can just put you to sleep, can just let you go on automatic pilot or on automatic, so you're not even conscious anymore. So there seemingly these two possibilities with ritual are there, actually to wake you up or to shake you out of complacency, but also to make you go asleep. So this is just what I wonder, because we're so obviously surrounded by rituals.
Yeah, so in the beginning, all the rituals make you sleep. Like when you chant again and again, not amplified rituals, like tongue rituals we can call, tongue rituals and amplified rituals. I think, amplified rituals only disturb.
What we hear, okay, yeah.
Because it doesn't work for those people who are also doesn't work for anyone,
Yeah.
So somehow, but we managed to do that somehow. But actually, like rituals, like when we say use words, any word, there is an energy behind the word. The word has an energy. So, because generally, as in our daily life, really it's difficult to reach to energy. It's very easy to reach to words, but then really to reach to energy is not that easy. We kind of many times we spend our life without being in touch with energy. We are in touch with words, but nothing more than that.
So we're not conscious of the charge the words have?
Whatever, words will have something.
Yeah.
Words are used for something.
Yeah.
So when we really chant, like in the beginning, chanting will be through words. But if you really keep on, then somehow words dissolve. The words, they really dissolve, and energetic chanting keeps on.
Okay.
So there we really get to know the energy. And from there, there is even more subtler energy, even more subtler than those. So this is a path to reach from the world to the subtlest, if that has worked.
Yeah.
If chanting has worked.
One of the Ten Commandments is to not to use the word of God in vain. Is that why?
Yeah.
Because there is a charge, and otherwise you destroy the beneficial charge it has.
Certainly.
And where I was in that monastery, they chant in Latin, and they said it is because over the millennia the words have this charge, and it's the same as Sanskrit. And what about the rituals that we're not aware of? A ritual that I observe is people watching the news, for instance. But watching the news, they think they have to watch the news because that's what you do, and you have to be informed. And at such and such a time in the evening, they put on the television and watch the news. That's also a ritual, as far as I can see.
Yeah.
There are many more rituals, really.
Yeah, but then that is like more information.
Yeah.
Like we take as information. The news, when we are watching news, is more like information, really for the head.
Well, I see it as something you do repeatedly without knowing that you're doing it, or without questioning.
Yeah, certainly. But then, we think that maybe something new comes because, of course, at least in India, since morning to night, they only repeat same thing again and again and again.
Same everywhere.
Morning tea.
Yeah, morning tea, for instance. This is a great ritual in many ways. Thanks.
I'm talking of rituals. You once told me, if I remember correctly, long ago, that actually Shankara formulated Advaita as a reaction to the sort of, there was so much ritualism in Hinduism at that time. It had become sort of more ritual and something like that.
Yeah.
And then people, the more sort of, what should we say, the people who were really interested in finding out the truth, not just doing the rituals, they were then turning to Buddhism. And so, as I understood you, you then said that then Shankara's formulations were really a kind of a reaction to the fact that people were turning to Buddhism. And so you said it almost had like a sort of a political aspect, like a spiritual political aspect.
Certainly, political, spiritual aspect. Because he really came against Buddhism,
He came against
Buddhism, that time, that was really the accepted religion, for many people who really want to go deep. And he really helped also in the Hinduism part to really find ways to go deep. But also at the same time also is like you can call fighting mode somehow.
So you say that also then part of his motivation was in fact to sort of not to sort of fight against everybody going to Buddhism because they were tired of the ritualism of Hinduism. Is that what you're saying?
Certainly, but the thing is like what happens like with the like so far like if we look in the history of humanity, there has been many kind of thinkers who really made thoughts available to people, and they really created a kind of cult, we can call. But for me, like the thoughts without feeling, they really always work against. Like when you have feelings and thoughts, then because feelings can, like if you are writing on a black board from the white chalk, so black board is also needed to write from the white chalk. So when, as long as feelings are there, they can accept black board, also the white chalk. So for the people who really think through the feeling, for them it's not difficulty. But then when it is, the thoughts are heard, because feelings cannot be heard. It's really, really difficult to hear feeling. Some people can do, but not everyone. So then when thoughts are heard, they are becoming against the black. So they go pro to white, but against the black. So this is why all the cults, they really seems like fighting from where they came. So probably, like in him, for him, it was not like this.
For Shankara, it was not.
Yeah, because the thoughts came through the feeling.
From himself.
Yeah, but then of course when I listened, I heard it being against like Buddhism. So this is why I think these all the what we have done in the history of humanity, because of this doesn't work, because then we become against, we create our own cult, but then become against other cult. And then somehow we like fighting, so then later we only fight.
Especially religious people.
Yeah, I think,
Well, I'm just
not
thinking,
religious,
that was a silly joke, but all the wars between religious people all the time.
So that's what happened. So I was like very much into this, like thinking to myself, and then really seeing if it will serve my purpose. And then kind of, I really checked the thoughts, and then they were not really serving my purpose,
Which thoughts was that?
Like, any thoughts, like speaking, any kind of thing, speaking through thoughts without feeling. They will again go same way as in the past has gone. So I then decided to close that chapter and really go with very slow path, where I can enable people to also feel and also think, and then that might be more helpful. Maybe like smaller amount of people, but it felt like, it could be better. So that
So in what you just said, the white and the black, the chalk and the blackboard, were you saying that a new idea is like the white chalk, and the black is the ideology or the religion of
Of the old, you know,
Of
like
the old,
on
okay.
which, yeah.
Ajay,
Just 1 minute.
Okay, it gets superimposed on there, and only by having a foil or by having the contrapoint can you actually see what the new thought expresses just by juxtaposing it to the
Yeah, just, you know, like it's like, you know, if you are using antibiotics
yeah.
without what is pro, you know?
Probiotics.
Yeah, probiotic, you know, it's same way, you know,
Okay.
that you really are using antibiotics,
Okay.
but no probiotic, you know.
Good. Excellent.
So Derek ji,
is it Sankara? Is his name Sankara?
Shankara, yeah.
Yeah. But the same thing with the Buddha. The Buddha, like,
Yeah.
if I listen to Buddhists,
Yeah,
I get really, like,
Yeah.
it's like nothing existed before Buddha.
yeah, certainly.
Oh, well, yeah, they got really stuck.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it's like, well, that was maybe a reaction of whatever was going on at the time that needed to be happening because they lost sight of the subtler truth that was before. Is this what each avatar does? Each avatar comes for the present day with a gift for that time. In the dark, each time is going darker. No?
you can say that, yeah. Like somehow, you know, the existence really takes care somehow.
With mantra, it's like mantras leave.
Mantras leave, yeah.
What's
Yeah, because you know the mantras as words leave, but you know something of them is left, and then more of that is also left, and something is left inside. So it's like it starts getting subtler and subtler and subtler, and really kind of, you know, they enable you to meet the subtlest. Some.
Okay, we came to speak of mantras this morning on the teaching, and that, as I understood it, if one cannot say just stay with the feeling of I, and you're all getting tied up in knots with your thoughts, then it may be a good thing to take a mantra. If I understood you correctly. And then I hear you saying this thing about the mantra, and it makes, for me, sort of somehow or other, it makes sense. Somehow the mantra can leave you, but the energy of the mantra is still there. And so for me, I really have two questions, because in Norway there is a school, it's sort of a non-religious school, and they use mantras a lot, but they want it sprang out of what's that? What's that called? Transcendental meditation. What is that one called?
Transcendental?
Meditation.
TM.
Mahasi Maestro.
Mahasi Yogi.
Mahasi Yogi, something like that. Yeah, and then these people, also I haven't done it, but you're given a mantra, and then when you practice that a long time, then sort of like the head teacher or the boss, he sort of thinks it's about time you had another mantra. That maybe, and then that got me to thinking what you were talking about it become more and more subtle. So do mantras themselves sort of have different subtle energies, as it were? So if you change, I mean, I'm just a bit curious about why you should want to change the mantras.
I don't know what
That doesn't
they
make
do,
particular sense.
but probably, the mantra means like if you come with another mantra, again it will be reversed.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I don't know how that can help to,
But what you do know about is, what I think my next question, because some mantras, they're very long. I can sort of understand that a mantra can kind of have an energy if you're using, I don't know, that's sort of together all the time or whatever. I can sort of sense what you're saying about this. I mean, I can't do it, but I can sense what you're saying. Somehow there's a subtle energy there, and even the words go, the energy is still there. But then, what about the Gayatri mantra? It's got to see, it's so long.
Yeah, it's so long, but it still has, it will leave the energy behind.
But is that because of the actual words of the Gayatri mantra, or would it not really make any difference what you were saying?
Yeah, it will not make any difference. Any words you use, that there has to be love.
Yeah.
So that you can pull the energy up that towards you.
That's why something like the Gayatri mantra would be a good one, because the actual, as it were, message is so deep that you can sort of love what it's saying.
Because love has this attraction power, the love in us. So say when missile is out and energy of missile is left, so then love will pull that within.
So in that sense, it does make a difference which mantra to use. It has to be something that somehow or other says something to you.
Yeah, something, so that's why, the word you use, like you love, that will really help.
Okay. Because I've often thought, say, about the Gayatri mantra, the mantra, I was thinking, keep on repeating this message is that it's the actual message itself that's transforming one. But you're saying really it wouldn't. It is the energy actually.
Energy of that, and then it could connect to the message, you know, because then you
To
are,
the message.
yeah,
Yeah.
because then you are like in a subtler realm where connecting to that is possible.
Yeah.
That message, you know, which has been left very in the past.
That goes in a kind of a circle in a way. If I've understood you correctly.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
But does it have to be like that? I mean, I can understand that. Well, understand and understand. I can sense what you're saying about the energy. But does the mantra then always have to be such that, in a sense, you will, after you have left the mantra and gone into the energy, and then from that place, then you can sort of somehow get a deeper sense of what the actual mantra is saying. Does that sort of have to be the case, as it were?
You know, that's how the understanding comes, you know.
Yeah, okay.
Like, because it's reading books, talking people, and understanding doesn't come. Like, you know, it really, what comes, you know, I can impress people, you know, like it really works to impress. But there is nothing deep understanding, you know, like which I can like speak very certainly.
Okay.
I have a question that I keep thinking about a lot. And it's been with me for quite some time, ever since, for many years. See, in the Bible, Jesus is betrayed, and Jesus knows that he's going to be betrayed by Judas. So Judas asks him, you know, Jesus says, one of you is going to betray me. And then they say, well, who's it going to be? And he says to John, he says, you know, the one who's dipping his bread into the dish, he's going to betray me. Then Judas goes, asks Jesus, is this me? Will I betray you? And he says, yes. And so, in fact, when the authorities come to arrest Jesus, Judas then says to the soldiers, to the police, so to speak, that's the guy. And this was also foretold in the Old Testament. In Isaiah says, you know, the Messiah will come, and this will happen. Somebody will betray him, and so on. So then Jesus also says, well, you know, Judas betrayed me, and he's going to rot in hell. So you know, he doesn't say it like this, but I take it like this. And I find that stunning because Judas has no choice. He has to betray him. Obviously, you know, it was written down in the Old Testament. Also, Jesus knew. Also, he's going to be punished for it, punished severely. He's going to be in hell without ever getting out. So yeah, well, it's why am I bringing this up? I kind of find it jarring, even as a child, and I didn't know quite why did I find that so terrible. You know? Because in many ways, Judas, he betrays him with a kiss. You know, he's not. I mean, he could have done it differently. He shows that there's some kind of love for him in a way. But what I'm saying is Because there are, in the Bible, over and over again, there are these passages that point to the fact that everything is preordained, that everything is laid out beforehand. So even Paulus, says, "Oh, you did terrible things. You will suffer for it." But it only shows that it has been predicted, and it only shows that the good book is right because you're doing these horrible things, and it was told before. So why I'm saying this and why there is charge for me is about this question is everything is everything predictable or written just like on these palm leaves in Bangalore, they have these people's death dates written down.
Yeah.
So people's
death dates when you're going to die.
Oh.
So of course you could just laugh it off and say, "Oh, that's just nonsense." But over and over again, it seems that when you go to spiritual texts, there is this element of prediction or of
predetermination.
Predetermination, that's the word. Yeah. Why? I'm saying this because if that is the case, because
Then why to be in retreat, huh?
Sorry.
Then why to be in retreat?
Yeah, it takes the fun out of things, and it's also downright spooky.
But then like the passage you spoke to us.
Yeah.
So there was like say Jesus himself.
Yeah.
He knew.
Yeah, he knew.
He knew. But he didn't change anything.
No, but that was also written down in Isaiah. Says
that also is written.
he's going. This is going to happen, but he's not going to. He could have, given the power that he had, he could have stopped the crucifixion, but he didn't.
Did he have the power to change that?
No, that's what I'm trying to say. But then if that prediction is also there, then, so then I don't know what to say. Because I was trying to say that Jesus could change, but he didn't. So do you think that was not his will?
Wow. It's a difficult.
So maybe for most of us it's not like that, but maybe some people can go their way. For most of us maybe prediction works, but maybe for some people not.
Is that because we believe in the predictions?
No, because we really not believe, because we are entrangled with our own kind of thing, not out of it.
I mean, we're so enmeshed and so unfree that the story is so thick that we can't wiggle our way out of it.
Yeah, somehow, but it's so thick that it's difficult to take out even hand.
Yeah, it's terrible.
This is like, I'm not speaking about you,
Yeah.
You are in the water, you can raise your hand.
Yeah, my hand can't see them.
Is it also connected to And he's told that when it's written he has to go to war anyway, and if he's just doing what he's meant to do, but without the identification of being a doer, then he's not making any karma. So does that have any connection? When we are not identifying with the doer, then we are beyond karma, then we have the possibility to have a choice to not do things, to change.
You are not good thing.
I read that about Judas in a book that Jesus is buried in Pakistan. Jesus is buried in Pakistan.
Buried in Kashmir.
Yeah. Is it Kashmir in Pakistan or?
India.
Okay, wait. Sorry for opening that up. The guy who wrote the book, he was saying that Judas was awakened because he followed what he was supposed to follow. Because he did his duty and grasped Jesus up. It was a good grasp.
So it didn't wrote it.
I have been to
Wasn't it
Kashmir.
You have been.
Peshawar?
India occupied Kashmir. India occupied Kashmir.
India sir.
You've been there, you said?
Was it Peshawar?
Huh?
Was
No,
the,
India occupied Kashmir, he said.
yeah, oh sorry, but where Jesus went, you're saying, was it Peshawar?
No, not Peshawar. In Kashmir, Jammu, after Jammu city, it's called Maqbara of Lal Mehdi. Jesus is called Lal Mehdi.
Oh, in this book it's definitely in Pakistan. And now they've denied that it's a tomb, and they've taken all the things that attribute to Jesus, Isis. But then it's very similar in this book. It really opened my eyes that these stories, it talks about the same with Lanka and Ram, that this story pops up many places, and the same with Krishna, and the same with Jesus, that maybe it's just reincarnated many times, and different places in the world get to see. I don't know. But that's what it said in the book. It said that these stories come up, and because they say that in that area that Jesus was known as Isis. Is it Isis? Not ISIS, but like something like that.
Isis son of
The-
Maryam.
Yeah.
The goddess? Or God? Or whatever? No, you're right. Yeah.
Isuf anyway.
Yusuf son of Maryam.
But his name is all over this area anyway.
Yusuf son of Maryam. Isa son of Maryam.
So he's buried in Kashmir, in Indian part as well. Yeah, same story.
But if we go back to this story of Jesus, Jesus himself had a reason to allow himself to be crucified and or be executed, because crucifixion was what the Romans did. And that was to save us. And so he could have had a reason for doing what he did, and thereby the prediction was fulfilled. Not because, from his point of view, not because he said, well, I've got to fulfill the prediction, but he had his own reason for doing this, because he felt that if he was executed by the Romans, and then that means crucifixion, then he would save humanity.
Good.
Which gives a kind of there's a slight twist to it actually then. It comes to my mind as you were talking about this, because actually Judas also was part of the attempt to save humanity. By betraying Jesus.
Yeah, so black and white.
It's not so black and white.
No, like
No, it's like
it's like black and white together.
Yeah.
so he's the black against which the white of Jesus can be seen. Yeah.
But for some strange reason, it was Judas who decided he would betray Jesus, because we don't know what his motivation was.
But do we know if he decided? That's.
Well, if he did, then.
Do we know if he decided? I mean, this is why, this is like this, the richness of this question is pretty much in that, you know, if did he, how much did he actually decide, you know?
But on one level, he does have to make that decision, right? Like maybe on
Yeah.
the other level,
Okay, good.
he's not making a decision, but
Right.
on one level, right? I mean, that has to be a decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Inspired, but
it could be very
He's
difficult
inspired.
for him, you know, to decide that, because he
Yes.
really loved Jesus.
Yes.
And
And that's so hard.
to your loved one,
Yeah.
if you decide to go against, you know, I think it really will be so difficult.
Heartbreaking, that's the word. That's what I feel in that story. Yeah.
I also think in these stories, for me, why do people tell these, the stories are told after the fact
Yeah.
of something to prove a particular point.
Mm.
This is a strange analogy, but in the American presidential election, so many of us never thought it would turn out the way it did. And then the next day, we had to think differently. And we had to look back and think, how did we arrive here?
Right.
And now, it looks to me perfectly obvious
Yeah.
that we could have this particular president. But not till after the fact.
Yeah.
And there were all these benchmarks. But they happened, but we didn't attribute a kind of significance to them. And now, well, it seems obvious, but we're looking at it after the fact. So some aspects, it's like the victor writes history. So they leave in all these aspects of maybe even saying it was preordained or how could it have turned out any other way. But it's all in the telling. And sometimes I think we attribute too much meaning here and not enough here. And how do you really know? And everything is perspectival.
One question and answer with Swami here. Like, one question was why there is so much suffering, injustice, and all those rubbish in the world, in the creation. One Swamiji in Varanasi said, the meeting in which God decided that there would be suffering in the world, I was not invited.
Who said that?
Oh, Swamiji, we are always studying with
Meaning.
so I don't know. So my particular question was like, there is so much flood, so many people have died.
Yeah.
So you could say that flood has brought so much soil and agriculture would be good. But if God is all powerful, can He not do in His own way, in something different way? That without killing so many people, destroying so many families, can He not make the land fertile? This was meeting in which God decided to have suffering. I was not invited.
There was another answer to that one. There's this fellow Ram Dass, you know, the old LSD guru.
Right. Yes, I remember.
Yeah, and then well, I can never remember all these Indian names, but then he was together with,
Neem Karoli Baba.
thank you, I'll remember that for half a minute, Neem Karoli Baba. Okay, and then somebody asked Ram Dass once, why is the evil in the world? And Ram Dass's answer was, it is to thicken the plot. You know, if you have like a detective story, it gets more and more complicated. But But all this assumes that God wants to do the best for everybody. But I mean, who said that?
No, not Indian God.
Hmm? No, not the
Like one Swami Ram, he was a great exponent of Vedanta. He went to US, Swami Ram Tirth. On his name we have our this hall, satsang.
Yeah.
So he said, why do you say God is only good? If God is doing only good, who is doing the bad?
Yeah. Right.
There's an American Benedictine sister named Joan Chistershire, and she says, when people say, how could God allow all these terrible things to happen? She says, it's not God, it's people. People are doing it, and we let them. So.
Different answers.
I just want to bring it back just briefly to this preordained thing, you know. What is your... Because it can have a heavy feel to it for me, personally. It can have just like a dark cloud. Like a dark cloud.
No,
you know?
what is more, if it is preordained, then what is more disturbing? Judas being in hell forever. That part is...
Yeah, that's
not-
that I don't believe that. I think that's just somebody said that,
Yeah.
and who knows? We don't know that.
So what happens once I was talking about these things, hell and
Yeah.
heaven, what my idea of this is, not in India and everywhere we have this concept of hell and heaven. And religion, not philosophy, religion cannot exist without it.
Without hell, the notion of hell.
Notion of hell and heaven. But like here, those who worship Shiva, they are told to be that they will go to Loka of Shiva, Shiva Loka.
Aha, Shiva.
Those who worship Vishnu, they will go to Loka of Vishnu. So what I think, these worshippers or these believers, like there are many, the aboriginals, the native faiths, they all worship.
Yeah.
And I personally have encountered with people who have some access to things that is not only,
Yeah.
you know, you
Things
cannot
that not only...
on physical
On the that are in
physical level, like a spirit world or whatever you call. I don't know about Shiva Loka or Vishnu Loka, but they have some access to, like in our area in Bihar, they can bring things from air, like Satya Sai Baba. But they are very simple people, and they would say they are in contact with such and such ghost, and they will bring this thing.
Yeah.
So this subtle realm cannot be completely denied.
Yes, that's true.
So what I think, whatever God or deity, let's call it deity, not God.
Yeah.
Deity?
Deity. And all deity or some of the deity, they want to become God, the God.
Okay.
God, G, big G.
Big G. Like we want to become president.
CEO.
So the deities, they have this ambitions to become God or to be called God, or somehow it makes them. I completely do not deny their existence. And these deities, they have their own lokas, their own abode in subtle realms. And people who believe in such and such deity, their mind gets, after drawn towards that loka. Only thing is, only one add-up is, these deities, like Shiva Loka is said to be eternal. Vishnu Loka is said to be eternal. But when Shiva Loka is said to be eternal, in Vaishnav texts related with Vishnu Loka, it is said that after such and such billion of years, it will be destroyed. It will annihilate. Or Vishnu Loka, this will annihilate. So they do not know the end of their own Loka. So they call it eternal. But it's the faith, thinking about them, and they are drawn towards it. Somehow this is the way that helps me reconcile with them.
Yeah, that's one aspect of the story. The other aspect is just how much scope do we have if if things are preordained. That's just how much scope do we actually have? And I hear Ajay say, well, you have a little something there that is aware. Is that, do I understand you right? So, and the more that grows, the less I'm in the, I'm beholden to.
You are outer.
Yeah.
The more it grows, you are outer.
Out of that.
Of water.
Okay. Out of the current that sweeps me wherever the current wants, and the current already knows against what rock I'm going to bump up against. So it's both. It's the current and the awareness working in this journey. Because there are some gurus who say, Ramesh Balsakar would be one who says there's nothing you can do.
But he was serving his guru many, many years. He himself sitting every day with him. So if what he says is true, but he was not following what he said.
What his guru said?
No, like he himself.
Yes.
Because he says that you cannot do anything.
Right.
But then every day visiting to his guru, translating everything into English.
Yeah.
That was like his lifestyle.
Yeah.
But then if it is true for him that nothing to do, then why to go out of his house and go to his guru? So something he himself was doing, but he is asking us not to do.
But he would say, Ramesh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Ajay. That was what they call. That's what they call a Freudian slip of the tongue.
Yeah.
He would say, Ramesh would say that the fact of him deciding that he was going to go and translate for Maharaj was also his destiny. He says it would depend from which level you look at it. He says everything is preordained. We can only live out our destiny, and therefore if something's going to happen, it will happen. But that's at one level, but at the other level, we have to live our life as if we do have choice. I mean, you've got no choice but to choose.
Yeah.
I mean, you can choose to do nothing, or you can choose to do something, but you're still choosing.
Yeah.
So we cannot not choose.
That's true.
From this, as it were, from outside of the fence. If you
But the thing is, Janji, that if that is really true for him, then why to stop others? You need not to do anything.
Yeah.
That was kind of his decision to say this. Because people really wanted to come to him, and of course he allowed that, because he really allowed plays and all these things. So if that was true for him, why he can close his doors, say, okay, you need not to do anything.
Yeah.
Why you are coming to me?
Well, because he wanted to give them the message.
Yeah, the message, but message one time, this message you need not to do anything. But then he allowed people to come every day to give.
Yeah, because you don't get the message immediately the first time.
Okay. So you won. I'm defeated.
Like if everything.
Excuse me. I do understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
Ajay, but I think that in a sense, in the end, these kind of conversation in the end just goes up.
Yeah.
Yes.
If we both understand at one level, then we can just carry on like this until everybody goes off for supper.
Yeah. So I think,
I'm glad we can laugh about it because it tends, I've been pondering every time it's like this black cloud, I'm glad that there's some lightness about the whole subject.
Actually, I can say one last thing. And I think the motivation was love and compassion.
Yeah, certainly.
Because I remember once Ramesh saying, he said, well, somebody asked him, something about how long he's going to live or blah, blah, blah. And he said, it's been a long time. So in a sense, he was tired.
Yeah.
Before we go, can I just make this about me again for a second? So yes, I can see that I was molding love, me particularly in the beginning, and then everybody else. No, and because I have been trying to understand what got me into such a pickle, and I feel like I have to talk to you about something like many times before I remember and get it. So this is why I'm talking about it again and again and again. But it's that I was so scared of people's anger because people are angry with it, right? So to have the love be I don't want to say too much about it because I don't want to make it into something, but that's what sort of was started the whole molding. Yeah.
So I think we missed chance to say goodbye to Sun, at least on 12 November 2017.
Just want to say that a dog ate half my shoe last night.
Half
So,
your shoe?
Yeah, part of my shoe. So if you have an edible shoe, keep it inside. Maybe I forgot.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sorry.
How do we know it's a dog?
Oh, is it dogs like that?
Oh, dog like shoes.
Yeah.
They're expansive sandals as well.
Uh-huh.
Oh, really?
Is that your new path? Offering your shoes?
It's my back. Yeah.
So you have to remember to put them outside the door every night.